design an effective and engaging training program from scratch? This is one of the many questions I asked myself back in 2011 when I first became a trainer. Hello and welcome to the eLearning Academy. My name is Irina, and today I'll walk you through ADDIE, the 5 steps you need to take to design an effective learning experience, be that an online course, a training workshop, or a webinar. And to make sure that you can use ADDIE back on the job immediately, which is what we're all about here at the Academy, I'll share with you a nifty checklist completely for free, so stay tuned. First things first, what is ADDIE? ADDIE is an acronym that stands for the 5 steps you take to create a training course: analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. Think of it as your step-by-step guide to crafting learning experiences that not only engage but truly resonate with your audience. Now, I do want to point out that technically ADDIE is not an inherently learning framework. It's more akin to a project management model. That is, if you follow these steps, you will get a certain result. So you can use ADDIE to build a website, to create an ad, to record a YouTube video, and so on. But the reason ADDIE has become so popular in the L&D circles is that, in theory, if you follow each step and you do it well, the end result will be an effective learning experience. Let's break down each step and discover how ADDIE can turn your training vision into a reality. The first step is analysis. I've said it before and I will say it again. It doesn't matter if you're creating an online course, a webinar, or a classroom training. You always need to start with analysis. You need to understand who your target audience is, what their pain points are, and what resources they need. Usually at this stage, you can also tell what is the most appropriate learning experience. It could be training, or an online course, or a conversation with a coach or a mentor. Or it could even be just a job aid or an article. But for the purposes of this video, let's assume that the right solution is indeed a classroom face-to-face live training session. And let's explore this with an example. During your annual learning needs analysis, you discover that several people lack some basic problem-solving skills. The people have indicated that they would like to attend a training, and you happen to agree. Our analysis should tell us more about the learners. In this case, people are mainly project managers who split their time between collecting requirements from clients and then translating them to the software development teams. They're tech-savvy and like to try new things. And that means we are ready for step 2, the design stage. Here, you need to think about the best activities and training methods that you can use based on what you discovered in the previous stage. For example, if the majority of your learners like to try things out in practice, you need to include plenty of opportunities for them to do this, like role plays and simulations. If your learners are super busy, then you need to consider how can you cut the training time but still make it effective. Going back to our example, the design I would recommend is to start the group off with a real-life problem that they would need to solve and then present them with several problem-solving techniques. Then they will have an opportunity to test them out, and we would wrap it up with a discussion on what worked and what didn't. One tip for the design stage is to gather as much feedback as you can. What I personally like to do is to send out a preliminary session plan to my stakeholders and ask them to tell me what works for them and what really doesn't. In the example that I've been looking at, I would share it with either a few of the attendees or their managers and get their feedback on the relevancy of the problem and the applicability of the techniques. I usually go back and forth a few times just to make sure that everyone is happy with the design. Once you have the design that everyone is happy with, you can move on to the third stage, developing your content. This is where you create any training materials and resources. For online courses, this is where you would run a pilot or a test version of your course and share it with a small group of learners to get their feedback. However, in our example, I would prepare any handouts, learning presentations, workbooks, as well as feedback surveys. As soon as that's done, you can proceed to the fourth stage, implementation. For a traditional classroom, that means delivering the session. For online courses, this means launching it on the learning management system. But we are not done just yet. The final stage is evaluation. This is where you assess the quality of the training, the resources, and how well the learning objectives had been met. This is a whole topic on its own, so I will leave it for another video. But in our example, this is where I share the feedback survey and ask people to rate how satisfied they were. But satisfaction from training alone is what we call a vanity metric. It doesn't actually tell you if anything substantial changed as a result of the learning experience, which is why I will probably check back with the learners sometime after the training to evaluate how their performance has changed as a result of the training. Now, if you want to learn more about evaluating learning experiences, we have a dedicated playlist which you can check out in the description down below. So, how do you design an effective and engaging training program from scratch? Well, you analyze the needs, you design a plan, you develop any materials, you implement the event, and evaluate its success. It might sound easy in theory, but there's a lot going on in each step. And to help you make sense of it, I'm sharing my very own ADDIE checklist that I use for almost any learning experience that I plan. You can download it at the link in the description. Did you enjoy this video? Consider subscribing so we can reach more L&D professionals. And if you want to learn more about learning and development, check out this video right here.